indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I would ask those with cell phones, if you would please silence them. We would appreciate it. We also like to welcome back to the main chair our city clerk, assistant city manager, Robin Troyer. Oliver wasn't able to be here before he was hired. He had an obligation this weekend through, I think he's back on Thursday. So we certainly hope he's having a good time, whatever he's doing, but Robin will be filling in tonight and certainly do a commendable job. We also have Commissioner Stefanski in attendance, and at this time he remains a commissioner. A couple of items also. Puller Donation Day. We have an opportunity to have the public come to the puller and see the work that has been done before the ice goes on the very next week. So this Saturday there is what we call Puller Donation Day. Anyone that has donated, or even if you just like to see what has happened, as little as $1 and as much else as you'd like to give, we would invite the public to the puller to see exactly what has gone on. You'll be able to go on the cement surface, which is going to be ice, but throughout the building, looking at the locker rooms, the entrance, the ADA accessible washrooms, and this kind of thing. So certainly from Saturday from 3 o'clock till 7 p.m. We'll have people there to kind of just assist, but most of it you'll be able just to walk around on your own and look at what we've done with this building. So as a community, we certainly welcome you to enjoy that before the ice goes on. So, and we'll mention that again at the end of the meeting in case folks didn't tune in. Also on tomorrow, vote in the primary election. There are a number of important proposals that affect the community, and we would encourage you to vote. The polls open, Assistant City Manager?
7 a.m. and they close at 8 p.m.
Okay, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And also, out the window, they are setting up now for, is it Art in the Park or something else? Sioux Arts Festival. Goes on tomorrow, and they open their door, or they're 9 o'clock in the morning, roughly? 9 o'clock, and go until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. A tremendous opportunity for those also. So, at this point, we have a presentation of the Garden of the Year Awards, which I will assist Becky Bottrell, who is our extraordinary staff person in charge of all the beautification in the community, and Becky's here to present some awards.
The Garden of the Year program was established many years ago by the city to acknowledge property owners that have done efforts to beautify their property. And in doing so, have inspired others to keep up their property also. So it's a very important program, and we do appreciate everyone's efforts in it. We accept nominations each year. There's like a 2-week period that we accept nominations. Properties must be within the city limits, and then once they're recognized, they're not recognized for 3 years. So I'm going to call your name if you want to come up, and then the mayor will give you your gift, and I can present you with a certificate that he's already signed. So the first one we have is Sandy Puritan at 1202 East 15th Avenue, which is really outstanding. Her whole yard looks beautiful. Cheryl Gravel at 607 Seymour Street. Is she here? Oh, she's supposed to be. Okay. The next one we have is Sharon Woolen at 2121 West 3rd Avenue. She has a great yard also. Next one we have is Viola Bennett, who has a great following with many phone calls on her property at 802 East 5th Avenue. And the next one we have is, I'd like to point out too that all 4 of these so far have never been recognized before, so that's outstanding. And then the next one I was received recognition. It's been many years ago, but he's continued to keep up his yard. And that's Jack Court at 117 East 14th Avenue. And Justin and Dustin, he would also like to say a few words about their help in helping him with their yard.
I'd just like to mention the fact that there's a place here in Sault Ste. Marie that takes care of people that have had problems. This is Dustin and Justin, and they're at the New Hope House, and they were a big help, helping me get this award. Thank you.
I'd like to also add the members of the New Hope House have really helped out with the citywide cleanup many years. They've participated, I know, along I-75 in different programs, so they really do help out this community, and that's what it's all about, is helping one another and inspiring and taking pride in our community. And so we really do thank each and every one of you that has made a difference in our community. So thank you.
Well, you can't leave. Very well done, and thank you again very much, Becky. I couldn't add anything else. It was very, very well said. Item number 2, public comment on scheduled agenda items. Any person may reserve time to speak on an agenda item, not to exceed 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to comment on an agenda item? Yes, sir.
I'd be happy to offer an explanation on 5A and 5B.
5A and 5B, and that is Justin Nepper, our Downtown Development Director. 5A and 5B. Under communication? Okay. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. At this time, item number 3, consent agenda. Acting City Clerk.
Under consent agenda, A, minute approval. 1, approval of the minutes of the regular City Commission meeting of July 21st. Recommended action, approve the minutes of the regular City Commission meeting of July 21st, 2014. 2, acceptance of the items of the following boards and commissions. A, Police and Fire Pension Board of May 14th. B, Police and Fire Pension Board of June 9th. C, Sault Ste. Marie Housing Commission of April 17th and June 12th. D, Tax Board of Review, July 22nd. Recommended action, acceptance of the minutes of the various boards and commissions. Item B, appointments and resignations. 1, appointment to the Historic Structures Management Committee. Recommended action, confirm Mayor's appointment of Roger Blanchard to the Historic Structures Management Committee to fill the balance of a term to expire on September 1st, 2016.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Twardy.
I so move that we approve the consent agenda.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Is there any commissioner that would like something further explained on the consent agenda? Okay, we have a motion and support. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Item number 4.
Item 4, special orders of business. A, public hearing for the establishment of a commercial rehabilitation district per Garfield Commons located at 510 East Spruce, and resolution establishing the commercial rehabilitation district.
Okay, thank you. Acting City Manager Troyer.
As the commission knows, a public hearing was scheduled for tonight's meeting on the establishment of a rehabilitation district in accordance with Public Act 210 of 205. A public hearing and the resolution needs to be approved by the commission to establish such a district. The public hearing may be held now to receive any public comments pertaining to the creation of the district that would encompass the property at 510 East Spruce Street. Following its adoption, the included resolution would be mailed to the County Board of Commissioners, which would have the option of taking no action, which would result in the automatic creation of the district if no action is taken within 28 days of the resolution being received by the county, denying the establishment of the district by resolution, or passing a resolution in support of the district and by extension in support of the redevelopment of the Garfield Elementary School building by Ms. Corbier. So it's my recommendation that the City Commission hold a public hearing to receive public comments on the establishment of a commercial rehabilitation district that would encompass the property at 510 East Spruce Street. Pending any comments, I'd recommend that the City Commission adopt the resolution as included in the packet.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we hold a public hearing to receive comment regarding the establishment of a commercial rehabilitation district that would encompass the property at 512 East Spruce Street, commonly known, I guess, as the Garfield School buildings. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make a comment at this time? Okay, hearing none. Commissioner Stefanski.
So move that the City Commission submit a resolution establishing the commercial rehabilitation tax exempt district to the county administrator.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons? Yes. Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 5.
Item 5, communications. A, from the downtown manager, request to apply for Michigan Transportation Alternatives Program Grant.
Okay, we'll go to the Assistant City Manager first, and then we'll go to Justin Knepper, who wants to make a couple comments on each of those items. So,
Okay. At the July 7th regular meeting of the City Commission, the City Commission, in conjunction with MDOT, the Michigan Department of Transportation, awarded a contract for professional design services to UP Engineers and Architects for the Ashman Street Utilities and Street Reconstruction project that will encompass the area along Ashman Street between Easterday Avenue and the bridge over the Power Canal. The project is funded both by the City of Sault Ste. Marie and MDOT. However, approximately $380,000 of the project focused on streetscape improvements remained unfunded. The unfunded portion of the streetscape improvements included the street lighting, brick pavers, trees, benches, and trash cans. The City Engineering Department, along with our Downtown Development Authority, have identified grant funds available through Michigan Transportation Alternatives Program for up to 80% of the streetscape improvement with a minimum of a 20% local match. With MDOT as a co-applicant, MDOT can provide the minimum local 20% match. Additionally, with the sidewalks already budgeted in the project in an amount exceeding $125,000, the sidewalk budget may also be used as the local match for the streetscape improvements to strengthen the city's application. Therefore, by applying for the grant, no additional city funds would need to be obtained to cover the local match. So it's my recommendation that the City Commission approve the included resolution in support of this grant application with a 20% local match committed that is not expected to exceed $125,000, being comprised of sidewalk work that has already been budgeted.
okay, thank you. Commissioner Shimmons.
I move that the City Commission
excuse me.
approve the included
Excuse me. Before we do that,
Okay.
DDA
Oh,
Director, it's
sorry.
my fault. He wanted to speak to that before we have any discussion or even a motion.
Good evening, thank you. Again, Justin Knepper with the Downtown Development Office. I just wanted to say a few things about the importance of the streetscape project that we're working on south of the Ashman Street Bridge. We had a meeting with a number of the business owners, I believe about 2 weeks ago. Here in the City Commission chambers, we had about 15 or 20 business owners and property owners show up. I guess just to give you a glimpse in terms of comparably what we're looking at is if you look at the current streetscape on Ashman Street compared to the current streetscape on Portage Street, many of the property owners are interested in kind of seeing the Portage Street style implemented in that section. It's a bit of a wider road, so we're looking at taller street lights. Portage Avenue from Ashman West has about 17-foot streetlights. We'd be looking at, most of the property owners are concerned about the bump outs, as they're called, on the central portion of Ashman Street, so we probably are currently planning on not including those, but still focusing on making sure our crosswalks and our sidewalks, our streetlights, and like the Assistant City Manager mentioned, a lot of the amenities and aesthetic portions would be carried down to Easter Day. So we're really excited about it. I think it's going to transform a section of downtown that's been kind of lost, as many property owners in that section say. So we're hoping by next year we'll be able to include all of this, and looking forward to working with our City Engineering Office and MDOT on implementation.
Any questions of our DDA Director, Commissioner Schimmons?
Could you, excuse me, tell me who will be responsible for watering trees and any plantings that you have and keeping the weeds at bay, that sort of thing?
That will be a huge blessing for us in terms of the weeds and all of that. The sidewalks in that section are so old, it's almost impossible to keep up currently. And so with new sidewalks, new trees, we're going to be doing a lot with our maintenance staff, the Downtown Development Office staff, to make sure that that section of Ashland Street is taken care of. And currently our existing streetscape, I know we have received a few complaints about weeds growing up around some of the tree grates. Many of those were around some of our trees that were hit with the emerald ash borer, and it was causing a lot of weeds and shoots to grow up around the bases. So our maintenance staff, the DDA maintenance staff, is currently pulling all the tree grates around our trees, digging down, putting new pea gravel and a weed mesh. So we're learning as we go, but I think we'll be in great place in the next year or so to make sure we're up to speed on streetscape maintenance.
Okay. Any other questions of Justin? No, Commissioner Schimmons.
Okay. I move that the City Commission approve the included resolution in support of this grant application with a 20% local match commitment that is not expected to exceed $125,000, being comprised of sidewalk work that has already been budgeted.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Questions? Commissioner Duarte.
I just wanted to say I'm really glad that we budgeted for sidewalks when we did the budget this year, so this is a good use of that money.
Thank you. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Schimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Boswes?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item number B.
Next item under communications is item B, from the downtown manager, adoption of a plan addressing the needs and problems of low and moderate income persons.
Okay, thank you. Assistant City Manager.
The Downtown Development Authority has been working for the past 6 months on a facade grant application for 5 historic buildings restoration projects along Ashland Street. The Downtown Development Authority in the City of Sault Ste. Marie has received an offer letter from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation in the amount of $662,825.67. That would be awarded contingent upon the building owner background checks, which are underway, being completed in the adoption of a narrative plan by the City of Sault Ste. Marie that assesses the needs of low and moderate income persons in our community. The plan is necessary due to the fact that the available grant funding is directly tied to the City of Sault Ste. Marie's HUD recognized low and moderate income projects area that run along Ashland Street. The Federal Housing and Urban Development Agency funds the Michigan Economic Development Corporation's facade grant program. So it's my recommendation that the City Commission adopt the included plan.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Gary.
I would move adoption of the included plan.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Justin Knepper, come back up.
Skipped you again.
Yeah, moving right along here.
I mean, I think you guys, again, Robin gave a great overview of it, but I just wanted to make sure everyone realizes the Downtown Development Authority is really excited also about these facade grant applications and the opportunity we have for historic restoration. We have 5 buildings on Ashman Street that have been chosen kind of in this first round. It's taken, and actually Spencer mentioned before he left, This is one of the things that the DDA was starting to do. It's been 10 years of working to get designations to allow us to apply for these grants through the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. So the last 2 years we've been really building a case as to why we qualify for what are called area-wide benefit CDBG grants. The 5 properties are qualifying for 75% matches. Many of the properties will be close to $150,000 or $200,000 restorations, and the goal is to start construction next spring. So with this statement in place, which is based off of the city's 2020 visioning plan, that's where I looked for guidance, as well as from the Sioux Housing Commission and a couple other organizations, Community Action and Regional Planning. It kind of identifies 3 overarching areas. One is job creation, one is creating new housing developments based on our target market analysis that the City Commission and the DDA worked on last fall, which identifies over 200 new units that we need to create downtown, and then the third, and around town, and the third is blight elimination. So with those 3 aspects woven into kind of a statement, a narrative statement, the MEDC will be able to recognize that we're kind of working on a long-term goal in terms of addressing our low and moderate income individuals in Sault Ste. Marie. So again, look for, hopefully after this step is completed, the city will be, I believe, receiving, if everything goes well over the next month, a letter pretty much giving the city access to the $600,000, which will be kept in a savings account in Lansing, and we'll be tapping into it to fund these construction projects going into next year.
Just, I guess I have a question. The historic restoration is always, years ago, was always tough because the buildings were, it was very hard, no money involved, that the History Division, are they involved in this whole thing, or is this an MEDC grant, or how does it work, do you know?
It's a little bit less stringent, but still very focused on proper historic restoration. So what we had to do was, and this took place over the last 3 or 4 months, myself and some other folks wrote pretty much reviews on each construction project, what aspects would be historically restored. So just to give you an example, UP Engineers and Architects is one of the buildings down just on the south side of Ashman Street Bridge. Yes. It had, currently it has kind of a light blue paint on it. It has kind of these maroon awnings. Many of them are falling off currently. And so to qualify, the State Historic Preservation Office wanted to see the paint removed, the awnings replaced, a number of components like that, and especially one of their biggest sticking points is windows. They want to see windows that have our historic character. So the library and the Historical Society provided us a tremendous amount of photographs on all the pictures, on all the buildings, so we can use certain modern materials, I guess. Some properties that are going to be worked on will actually be restoring their old wooden windows. Others might be using a certain other type that has the same exact look as what was there perhaps in the 30s or 40s when many of these buildings were built. The State Historic Preservation Office just sent us our letter saying that they had no comments on any of our plans and everything was up to their liking in terms of what we suggested our contractors would be doing on each project. So we were really excited about that. I was actually really nervous that they would be kind of a lot more, I guess, hard on us in terms of all the historic items, but they loved all 5 buildings that we're starting to work on. And the way we identified the buildings in the first round is really based on what property owners had their 25% available quickly, because it is a 75-25 match, and so even 25% for many of our property owners, you're looking at a $50,000+ investment. So hopefully in the years to come, we'll be working with many other property owners to implement these grants.
Okay, so these aren't historic districts. They're talking about 5 individual properties that may have the wherewithal to.
Yep. So 5 individual properties.
Funds.
That the money comes from the MEDC and not from the not with historic tax credits. Okay. So the State Historic Preservation Office doesn't have direct oversight over the project, but they have a tremendous amount of say in how the project goes.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions of Justin? Thanks, Justin. Thank you very much. We have motion and support in Justin's explanations. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn,
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski.
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Boswell.
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you.
Chickens.
Item C.
Item C, from the Planning Commission, recommendations on keeping chickens within the livestock prohibition area.
Okay, thank you. Assistant City Manager.
As you know, at the May 19th City Commission meeting, the commission heard a request from David and Heather Lewis regarding their desire to keep a small number of chickens in their backyard for personal use. The City Commission at that time referred it back to the Planning Commission for their review and consideration. The Planning Commission has met initially and discussed the item at their June 26th regular meeting, and they touched on the following topics: recent actions taken by other communities to address backyard chicken issue, the existing livestock prohibition ordinance, and the need to define the term farm within the zoning ordinance as it is presently undefined and listed as a permitted by right within all the city's single-family residential zoning districts. Following that, a public hearing was held at its July 24th Planning Commission meeting to solicit feedback from the public. At that meeting, the Planning Commission, the first topic that was addressed was, are chickens appropriate animals to be kept within the livestock prohibition area? And on that topic, 3 members of the public spoke at the public hearing. Mr. David Lewis, Mr. Jeffrey Stefanski, both spoke in favor of allowing chickens to be kept within the prohibited area, while Mr. Flood spoke in opposition of it. The second topic that was discussed was the location of the livestock boundary itself. The third was dealt with the definition of the term farm as included in the zoning ordinance. The fourth item discussed, mentioned briefly in previous topic, and involves the removal of farms from the uses permitted by right within the R1, RS1, and RS2, and R1-or R1A zoning districts. And the last item that the Planning Commission discussed dealt with subparagraph B of the livestock prohibition ordinance, which requires the keepers of livestock to obtain an annual permit from the health department for the same. It is not known when this provision was last enforced, but it isn't being enforced currently. So to summarize, what the Planning Commission's recommendations were before the City Commission was, 1, to develop a mechanism through which people can apply to keep animals other than those permitted within the livestock prohibition area, and that was approved 4-2. The second was to modify the location of the livestock prohibition area boundary to include 8 areas identified by staff for possible inclusion within that area, and that was approved unanimously. 3 was to not define farm or farm product in the zoning ordinance, and that approved unanimously. 4 was to remove farms from the list of uses permitted within the R1, RS1, RS2, and R1A zoning districts, and that was approved unanimously. And 5 was to delete the subparagraph B from the livestock prohibition ordinance to remove the requirement to hold an annual permit from the health department. It's the recommendation of the city administration that the City Commission take the following action. 1, to remand the Planning Commission's first recommendation that was approved 4-2 back to the Planning Commission with instructions to act specifically on the matter of backyard chickens. Item 2 was remand the Planning Commission's third recommendation that was approved unanimously back to the Planning Commission with instructions to create a definition for farm. And 3, that the City Commission accept the Planning Commission's second, fourth, and fifth recommendations as presented, with the recognition that such changes will require future public hearings and related action. Our Planning and Zoning Administrator, Kelly Freeman, is here this evening, and he is available to answer any questions that the Commission may have regarding the Planning Commission's meeting and action.
Okay, thank you. We have 3 recommendations. Those are 3 separate motions in discussion with the city attorney. I guess I'd like to, maybe Kelly Freeman, our zoning administrator? Planning and zoning administrator, would just give the background, because we didn't mention the background that we had on each of those with the backyard chickens. Maybe go back to that information that we have and just give that so the folks listening will see what the discussion was on that item to start with.
Which item specifically?
One,
Item 1.
our information.
So the
Staff presented
initial-
its concerns about keeping chicken and that stuff.
Certainly. The initial discussion was, whether or not, and I assume you're talking about the last planning commission meeting specifically, or just?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This discussion was based upon, was it appropriate to have chickens within the livestock prohibition area? And the planning commission, during their discussion, they said, well, what if somebody wants to have a goose or goats or any number of animals? And ultimately, the discussion ended up at, instead of just dealing with chickens, let's just have some kind of mechanism created to allow people to have animals of a sort that are not necessarily permitted within the livestock prohibition area. From where I'm coming from, I think that that's a little bit more broad than we need to be. And since the request was specifically to address the chickens, I think that that was what should have been addressed.
Okay. Okay. Any questions of Kelly on, we have 3 recommendations. Commissioner Gary.
So can you clarify the recommendation specifically, because these are kind of confusing? If I disagree with having chickens, I'm voting no on 1.
By voting yes on 1, you are sending the matter back to the planning commissions with instructions to specifically deal with the issue of backyard chickens and don't make it any bigger than that. So you're saying, look at this again and deal with just the chickens. Don't deal with the geese or the goats or any other animals, just deal with the chickens.
And if we vote no?
That's a good question. I would have to
Is it a
refer that
dead
to the
issue
city
then, or
attorney. I would
what?
assume that it would be.
I have to ask the city attorney.
Well, it's kind of like an election. Voting yes is voting no.
Get us
Oh.
The things are not always worded in the positive, but the issue is the planning commission is making a recommendation to you, and by remanding it, you're rejecting that recommendation. So voting yes to remand is voting no on their recommendation.
To look at the broader animal base.
Well, their recommendation was a broader animal
Right.
set of rules. By voting yes to remand, you are disagreeing with their recommendation.
But if, I guess, question to follow up, if we vote no, then where are we at? We're back to square where we presently are. At this point, we're no backyard chickens and no.
If you vote no on the remand, you are accepting their recommendation.
Oh, that means no backyard chickens.
No, their recommendation is to have a lot of backyard animals.
Oh, I thought they said no. For 4 to 2.
They didn't say no.
Can you? I thought I read that.
The planning commission felt that dealing specifically with chickens was too narrow.
Narrow.
They wanted to expand it wider to basically create a mechanism by which a person could petition the city to keep an animal that was not otherwise allowed. So that basically opens the door wide up for
Okay.
chickens plus whatever somebody else wanted.
I understand now. Okay. That's not what I read there, but, okay. Commissioner Simmons.
Is there a way we can work with this so that that item does not go back to the planning commission? Like, could the city commission vote yes now, but then have an additional motion that would just settle this once and for all, that there are no chickens?
Yes, that would be to handle it this way. You would vote no on accepting the planning commission's recommendation. That would be one vote. And then there would be a subsequent motion as it related to chickens. And that would then be decided by its own vote.
So, I mean, the question really that I'm asking is, can we resolve this tonight?
Mm-hmm. I would
I
agree.
mean, really.
The answer is yes.
Okay. Commissioner Gary has a question.
But if the subsequent motion does not pass,
Then we have,
then we are remanding it back to,
No, not if you reword if the motion made is to reject the planning commission recommendation, and if that passes, you can make a subsequent motion, if you wanted to address chickens.
But
I
if
don't
that
know what
doesn't
that
pass-
I don't know what that
well,
motion
take your
is.
chances, but I would, yeah,
I don't know what that
Yeah.
the motion may be
Yeah.
not to allow chickens.
right. Are you ready to make a motion, or are we, Commissioner Gary or Commissioner Shimon?
Commissioner Simmons was ready.
He can guide us, our city attorney can guide us through this if our wishes are to not allow
Okay.
chickens along with any other farm animal.
So we are working only with item number 1 at this time?
Yes.
I move that we do not accept the recommendation of the Planning Commission. Is that enough?
Support.
On item number 1.
For item number 1.
Support?
Support.
Discussion? Everybody understand the motion? Roll call, please. So voting for this motion, you understand, okay. Yes.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
That was a very strong yes. Next.
Commissioner Stefanski?
No.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Boswell?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
And Commissioner Simmons, second motion.
The second motion. I would move that the city commission not allow chickens in the designated area.
Support.
Is that enough? Does that designated area have to be spelled out, or is it within the?
That's sufficient for today's purposes.
Okay. Support?
Support.
Discussion? Commissioner Lynn?
Is this going to come back? Is this
I
it
don't
when
think
we
so.
vote on it?
Unless they, well, let's see what the vote is.
Okay.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
No.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Mayor Boswell?
Yes. Motion carried.
So I have a question.
Yes.
How can this come back to the city
If
commission?
as I understand it, I'll let our,
By you changing your mind,
yeah,
that
Okay.
could come back, yes.
by a commissioner that was on the side that was, made it happen, decides they want to change their vote and bring it back.
I won't even vote for it if the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl.
Okay, do we have to deal with item number 2?
The next item, and where did, the next item has to do with the issue
Farm.
of the word farm.
Maybe give us a little more background on that, if you would, Kelly.
Sure. Presently, the farm is listed as a permitted use within all of the single-family residential zoning districts in the city. However, what a farm is not defined within the zoning ordinance, so it's kind of left up to the interpretation of the individual, which is not necessarily good policy for us to have. So my recommendation to the Planning Commission was to accept the definition of farm as it is found within the Michigan Right to Farm Act. However, they felt that by one of the components of that definition of the Right to Farm Act is commercial production. And they were not comfortable with that language being in there because they felt that that would prohibit somebody from selling a modest amount of product that they grew at, like a farmer's market type of environment. So they felt that it was better left undefined.
What is your recommendation?
My recommendation would be to adopt the definition as it is within the Right to Farm Act. that specifically defines a farm as commercial production of agricultural products.
Commissioner Shimmons.
Would that allow people to sell produce at the farmer's market, in your opinion?
If you're strictly interpreting it, which you should, then it would mean that they would not be able to do that. However, we can make any modifications to that definition that we feel are necessary to protect the interest of people who want to engage in that.
Can we do that at this level?
I would think we can.
Yes, if you were to do something like that, the motion would be to ask staff to develop a definition of farm and bring the proposed ordinance amendment back for your consideration.
Mr. Shimmons, you still have the floor.
Could I go ahead and
Sure.
make a motion then? I move that we ask staff to develop a definition of farm and the commercial production of produce, and bring that back to the city commission.
I'm not exactly certain how we'd want to address this, but we would obviously want to give people enough latitude that they can produce small amounts, but not so much that they're, you know, we want to open that door only so wide.
Right.
I'm not quite sure how we want to do that, but I could work with the city attorney on exactly how we want to word that.
Okay.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gary,
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus.
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn,
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy.
Yes.
Motion carried. And the final recommendation, Commissioner Shimmons?
I move that we accept the Planning Commission's second, fourth, and fifth recommendations as presented, with the recognition that such changes will require future public hearings and related action.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stefanski.
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn,
Yes.
Commissioner Gary,
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus.
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 6 is the city manager's report. Our assistant city manager, Troy.
The first item for your consideration is award a bid for the purchase of a four-wheel drive ATV for the Parks and Rec Department. Sealed bids were solicited through the city's established purchasing policy for the purchase of a four-wheel drive utility ATV. The advertisement for this purchase was published in the evening news and on the city's website and sent to various suppliers. 5 companies submitted 6 bids, and they were opened on July 15th. The lowest bid, which was All Star Marine and Power Sports, unfortunately did not meet specifications as advertised. Therefore, the second low bidder was Dee's Honda Sales and Service out of Alpena, Michigan, in the amount of $10,471. So it's my recommendation that the City Commission authorize the purchase of a four-wheel drive utility ATV from Dee's Honda Sales and Service of Alpena, Michigan, in the amount not to exceed $10,471.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner
I
Lynn.
have a question. In the bids, there was a difference between Dee's Honda Sale of Alpena and Chippewa Motors of
$200.
$203. Chippewa Motors is a Polaris, and of course Honda. Dealership is a Honda. What happens if service has to be done to that vehicle, or warranty work? Is it worth $203 to have to drive down with that piece of equipment to Alpena with a city employee in a truck?
City manager.
What I believe would happen is it's a Honda, and Honda is serviced by Leeds Sports
correct.
Center, and that the Honda could be serviced locally through Leeds Sports Center.
Has anyone talked to Leeds about that?
I don't think we've made contact with them, but I don't think it's any different when you purchase a vehicle and you can take it to any
Well, over a
authorized
certain length,
dealership.
there's a mileage thing. And Alpena is 3 hours from here. Just wondering.
Commissioner Gary has a comment.
We had the same circumstance, I think, at the last meeting when we ordered bid to a Kubota dealer with, I don't know if it was Lansing or Onaway versus Pickford as well. And I wonder if we're going to have to revisit the local preference policy at some time in the future anyway, if the proposal passes to totally eliminate the personal property tax, because that's the way we've assessed
We
that.
are
So
going
maybe
to
this
have
is an
to.
issue we're going to have to address in the future. And I agree, we should look at future servicing and mileage and how much take into consideration some of that.
Now, I
Commissioner.
realize Chippewa Motors is not inside the city limits, but
Right.
it's not too far, a few feet outside the city limits.
And we've had this discussion. They've already employed local people.
Oh, yeah,
It's-
they pay
it's
taxes.
for
People
200, I
work
mean,
there, live
it's
inside.
minuscule when you look at the amount. I mean, the staff is doing what they're supposed to do, which is to recommend the appropriate low bid. I think it's up to us to discuss it and, come to a resolution. So
I will not support the purchase from a dealership in Alpena. Just telling you where I'm coming from.
Commissioner Tuardi.
I guess I was going to make a motion, but I don't want to take it away from.
No, no.
Commissioner
Well, you can
Lynch.
sh- you
Well,
can
no,
sh-
I would
Go right ahead.
You can
change the
start,
motion.
normally the start of the discussion, you normally have a motion, but it
Okay.
doesn't always work that way, so.
So then I'm going to make a motion that we opt out of D's Honda sales and choose to go with Chippewa Motors for the bid of $10,674 for the purchase of the Polaris.
Support.
It's been moved, supported, discussion. Commissioner Shimmons.
I don't think we're following our policy if we do that. And I would prefer that we table it. I don't think this is something that we have to do tonight. Could it wait for next month? And make that contact with Leeds to see if they would service the vehicle under warranty or otherwise, and award from there.
Guess a question, does it need to be expedited this tonight, or can it be later?
I don't believe it needs to be expedited tonight, but our Parks and Rec Director, Dan Wires, is here. And I don't know if, Dan, if you've made contact with Leeds about warranty information, or if you've reviewed the proposal as submitted by Chippewa Motors to see if it had met specifications, being that it was outside of the low bid. So if the commission wishes to table the item, we can take it back to administration and we can review the proposal as provided by Chippewa Motors and confirm warranty or service work if we were to award to D's Honda.
Commissioner Shimmons, you mentioned the fact you wanted to recommend that we table it, and there's no discussion on a tabling motion. That's not a motion yet, but if you'd like to,
Well, there's already a motion.
doesn't matter.
Oh, all right, then I move that we table the award of the bid for the purchase of a four-wheel drive ATV until we can make contact with the local vendor, Chippewa Motors, yes, Chippewa Motors, to see if they would honor the warranty and any work that needed to be done on the vehicle.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Again, there are no discussion. You can't have discussion on a tabling motion.
Just a it's Leeds, not Chippewa.
Oh, Leeds?
No. I think the staff understands what we're doing.
Support.
Okay. It's supported by Commissioner Lynn. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Tuardi?
Yes.
Mayor Boswell?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons, I think.
That's an echo here.
And Commissioner Stefanski.
Yes. Again.
And I do want to correct that, it is Leeds. I see that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, the next item for your consideration is award a bid for the fire hall renovations. Sealed bids were solicited through the city's established purchase policy for the renovation of the kitchen and bathroom at the fire hall. The advertisement for completion of the work was published in the Evening News and on the city's website and sent to 12 local contractors. 2 local contractors submitted bids, and they were open on June 23rd in the city clerk's office. The 2 bids received were McGahee Construction in the amount of $31,747 and Keisner Construction of $30,500. Both bids placed, or the bids placed by both Keisner and McGahee for this work were similar. However, the bid placed by Keisner was more closely aligned with the scope of the work developed by the city and also included removing and replacing of the wallboard in the bathroom with drywall. Furthermore, Keisner Construction was able to complete the project within 9 days. 9 days and a shorter timeline than McGahee for the completion of the work, which was 40 days. I'd just like to note, originally during the budget process, the fire chief had requested $65,000 for the two projects. We reduced it to half with the intention of doing one this year and one next year. So we were very pleased to find that the bids came in as well as they did, and we were able to do both projects. $500 to budget for this year. So as my recommendation, the commission award to Keisner Construction in the amount not to exceed $30,500.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Tuarte.
I move that the City Commission approve the renovation of the kitchen and bathroom at the fire hall as detailed within the included materials by Keisner Construction Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $30,500.
Support. It's been supported. Questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Forty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
The next item for your consideration is approval of MDOT agreement for Ashman Street between Easterday and Sheridan. The city is partnering with the Michigan Department of Transportation for the reconstruction of Ashman between Easterday and Sheridan, with this project being referred to as the Ashman Street Utilities and Streetscape Project. MDOT was previously planning roadway mill and resurfacing work along this portion of Ashman anyway, and therefore participating in the cost of milling and resurfacing work being done as part of the Ashman Street Utilities and Streetscape Project. The attached contract formalizes the cost-sharing agreement between the city and MDOT for the design phase of this project. Professional engineering work required for the original mill and resurface project planned by MDOT. Accordingly, MDOT's contribution through the included contract is calculated at $38,874. This contribution will be applied to the cost of the UP Engineers and Architects design contract approved at the July 7th regular meeting in the amount of $120,000. So it's my recommendation that City Commission accept MDOT contract number 14-5441 and authorize the city manager to execute the contract.
Commissioner Stefanski.
So move that the city commission accept MDOT contract number 14-5441 and authorize the city manager to execute the contract.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Forty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
The next item for your consideration is authorization to apply for a CDBG Urgent Need Infrastructure Grant. On July 22nd, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation announced the availability of Community Development Block Grant funding for those northern Michigan communities that declared either by a state or local jurisdiction to be a state of emergency due to the deep freeze of last winter. This program is intended to assist communities in recovering costs from infrastructure repairs required as a result of the damage that was caused by the deep freeze. The total amount of the grant from the MEDC is $6 million, and it's available to the communities that had already declared state of emergency and have submitted the necessary documentation to the Michigan State Police, Emergency Management and Homeland Security Division, and to FEMA. The CDBG grant requires a local match. As the Commission's aware, the City of Sault Ste. Marie endured $1.2 million worth of damages from this past winter. We have funded about 33% of that cost through our operations and our reserves. We are disappointed to find that FEMA was not supporting our request, but are happy that the MEDC has come up with some other available funds, which $6 million for the number of communities that have applied won't go far. It's my recommendation that the City Commission approve our application for the CDBG Urgent Need Infrastructure Grant for repair and reimbursement to replace the damage of infrastructure and other work eligible for completion through this program. And a minor change to the recommendation, it has a 15% local match. We've already expended about 33%. And so to make our application a stronger application when we apply, we'd like the commission to approve up to 30% local match for this application. And if we're awarded, it'll come back for the commission to accept it.
Okay, thank you. And Jim Morrow, our Public Works Director, is also here. Maybe, I don't know if he thought he was going to get away without saying a few words, but maybe just bring us up to date on the process, because you know, and I guess I know that the money from the governor, the FEMA money, is probably not forthcoming, but a lot of effort was made in trying to secure that. So maybe just tell us where we're at.
Yes, good evening. There's been a lot of effort by a lot of city staff on this, not just the water department, clerk's office, engineering, the clerical staff in City Hall. Everybody.
Is your mic on?
I think it is.
Good. Blue light? Good.
Blue.
Okay.
Anyway, we put in, I don't know, several times through Tim McKee, who's also been a big help with this, our emergency services coordinator for Chippewa County. Several tries at getting funding. First, we went through the Michigan State Police, who the Homeland Security branch, I believe, Robin, and they forward their recommendations to FEMA. FEMA denied everything, starting at square one again, and that's where we're at now. We already expended, got some quick math here, we figured a little bit over $400,000 we have spent on repairs, costs of let run in the production and treatment at the treatment plants, paving, and other associated cost materials and so forth. And we have the remaining of that, almost $700,000 or so, is busted water mains that remain out of service yet. And that's what we're asking for in that remainder of the $1.2 million in this grant, just to put things back together again. But that's where we stand. We have a conference call tomorrow at noon to get some more details on the grant application process, and we're going to put in for it. Whatever happens, happens.
Anyone have questions of Jim? Is that the mic? Commissioner Lynn.
The only thing I'd like to say, it's something like the same thing. In '95, when we had the snow emergency, I had to declare a state of emergency, and the governor had to sign on. It was the state police, like in this situation, that comes to your community to see if that's the case. And I imagine they visited here, didn't they, Jim? I'm sure.
I believe they came to Chippewa County. They did not make contact with me personally, but I believe they made contact with Mr. McKee.
It's amazing. It goes through the state police.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lynn.
So move the city manager's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Just, we certainly hope you're successful.
Yes.
On behalf of all the staff and the community, certainly. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gary,
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus,
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn,
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski.
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
The next item for your consideration is approval of change order number 7 to the Polar Renovation Project contract with McGahee Construction. As this project nears the completion, there are additional modifications that are being recommended by staff for inclusion in the project. Cost proposals provided by Randy McGahee are attached for your review, and the items being recommended for approval as change order number 7 being highlighted. Our city engineer, Parks and Rec Director Dan Weyers, UP Engineers and Architects, Project Manager, and our City Manager, Oliver Turner, are in concurrence with the highlighted items that should be included in the project. These items have not been reviewed by the fundraising committee. However, we feel that they either meet the objectives of the original project or are safety related. Other items contained within the cost proposal that are more discretionary in nature should be reviewed with the fundraising committee. Change order number 7, if approved by the commission, would consist of the following items from the cost proposal as submitted by McGahee Construction. Item 1, cost proposal $800 would be provided for the installation of a set of stairs to the east end of the bleachers where the handicap lift was removed. This was not part of the original design, as it was not determined whether this lift would ultimately be removed during the initial design work. Item 3, which is $3,774, would provide for the installation of a new fire alarm panel that meets code, the installation of ammonia detector, and a related warning light and related trigger for the exhaust fan for safety, and the installation of a new smoke detector in the new employee break room. Item 4, cost proposal of $1,850 would provide for the replacement of a fire extinguishers boxes that are obsolete and do not have shatterproof glass. And item 1 of the July 22nd cost proposal of $1,900 would provide for the installation of 6-inch vinyl baseboard and the 5 locker rooms that previously had carpeting and will now have rubber flooring to protect the walls from water damage attributed to mopping of the rubber floors. It should be noted, based on the funds that are on hand, the funds that have been pledged sufficiently covers the change order. The funds that have been received to date will leave us just under 5,000 short. So it's anticipated with the fundraising efforts and the pledges that will still be coming. It's the recommendation that the City Commission approve this work, which would be change order number 7.
Okay, thank you. And Commissioner Lynn, I think you have some additional comments about how lucky we are as a community. You've seen it.
When you bring Dan up on an agenda item.
Oh, okay, down on.
Which one is it?
It's under status report.
Yeah. I would
Okay.
talk to him.
Okay.
I would so move approval of change order number 7.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Boswell?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
The next item for your consideration is appropriation of funds for the Easterday Avenue and Ridge Street paving projects. Earlier in the week, last week, City Manager Oliver Turner approved emergency paving repairs for Easterday Avenue, which is that section just before you get to Seymour. It was the whole width of the roadway by UP Tire, and then also a section by Ridge Street by the fire hall. These were repairs that were done by our water department and were needing repair. So we solicited proposals for the work from Payne and Dolan and Norris Contracting. We only received one quote from Norris Contracting in the amount of $14,750 for the work done on Easterday and $6,700 for the work that was being done on Ridge Street. Payne and Dolan did not supply the city with the quote due to its tight schedule and heavy workload. When we contacted Norris Contracting, the reason for the approval was if we waited, it would be in mid to late September before the work would be done, and we felt that it was important to get those sections of roadway fixed and repaired. So City Manager Turner authorized the work to be done, and you will note that it is done. I drove through Easterday today, and it's a very nice job. So what I'm asking the Commission is that they appropriate the $14,750 from the Sewer Depreciation Fund for the completion of the paving work on Easterday Avenue, and then the $6,700 from the Water Transmission and Distribution for the paving work that was completed on Ridge Street.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Gary.
So move the city manager's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions, comments? Comments, I guess, would be that thank God it's finally, especially one on Easter Day and Seymour, which was heavily traveled. The gravel during rainfalls and right after, just very, very difficult roadway there. So it's in it. If you've been over it, and I'm sure many of us have been over it since just this last weekend, and the pavement is a good job and it's expeditiously done. So we appreciate that effort certainly. Anyone else? We have a motion and support. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Boswell?
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you.
The next item for your consideration is approval of a resolution supporting Proposal 1 on the August 5th ballot. As you know, Proposal 1, which would provide reform for personal property tax within the state of Michigan if passed, will be voted upon at tomorrow's primary election. According to the MML, the city of Sault Ste. Marie would stand to lose $549,966 if personal property tax collections were altogether eliminated. The Michigan legislature, during its lame duck session, considered the complete elimination of personal property tax without any reimbursement mechanism at all being established. Accordingly, in the included resolution has been prepared so the City Commission may support the passage of Proposal 1 if you desire. The fact sheet developed by the MML regarding the reform of personal property tax was included as well for your review. It's our recommendation that the City Commission approve the included resolution for supporting Proposal 1.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Simmons.
I would move adoption of the resolution supporting Proposal 1.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Any questions? Voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
And I have one item that I'd like the City Commission to move and support to add to tonight's meeting, and that would be notice of hearing and detailed charges against Jeffrey Harold Stefanski.
Commissioner Lynn,
So moved.
we need support.
Support.
All those in favor, voice vote, please. A voice vote, please.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Mayor Bosbus?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
No.
Do we need a unanimous motion to put it on the agenda?
Since the charges concern Commissioner Stefanski, the vote to add it to the agenda would properly be made by the disinterested commissioners only.
So the disinterested commissioners voted yes.
They voted unanimously, the disinterested commissioners.
Okay. So we have moved that onto the consent agenda, and is it your item or your item?
Yeah, I'll turn it over to the
Good
City
seeing.
Attorney at this time.
Mr. City Attorney?
One is yours.
As you recall, you voted to schedule a removal hearing under Section 5.4 of the city charter. Basically, to take evidence on a list of charges being made against Commissioner Stefanski by the City Commission. As a result of your vote to schedule the 5.4 hearing, I prepared a list of charges for you to consider here tonight at the 5.4 hearing. The date of the hearing cannot yet be determined at this time. Under Supreme Court precedents, Commissioner Stefanski cannot be put in peril with respect to his right to remain silent. So to protect his right to remain silent, this document would grant immunity to his testimony before you, could not be used in his criminal case against him, so therefore he does not have to choose with respect to his right to remain silent and possible future incrimination against addressing these charges before you at whatever date gets set for the hearing. So the document contains an immunity promise to Commissioner Stefanski so that he'll not be subjected to a violation of his constitutional right to remain silent should he choose to testify before you. Again, the immunity is only for use in his criminal case, not in the chartered case. So what he says or does not say in front of you will be eligible for your consideration with respect to the 5.4 charter hearing. I'd ask that you authorize this as the list of charges, grant the immunity, and authorize the city clerk to set the Section 5.4 hearing at a time convenient to the witnesses who will be subpoenaed and for each of the various members of the commission so that it doesn't conflict with their schedule so that they can be sure to attend this important session.
Commissioner Lynn?
So move the city attorney's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. We haven't had a chance to look at this at all, but any questions of the city attorney? I guess, you said there would be immunity on, the question I have, I guess, is by the city handling a quasi-judicial hearing, is that, would that, any of that information be inadmissible in a court of law?
Any testimony given by Commissioner Stefanski before you in the 5.4, excuse me, in the section 5.4 removal hearing could not be used against him in his criminal prosecution case.
Okay.
And again, this is basically based on Supreme Court precedent from 1967. When you're having these quasi-judicial activities, it's necessary to protect the constitutional rights of the accused, and you can't put the accused in a situation where they have to remain silent and not defend themselves before you for fear of it being used against them, anything they say being used against them in their subsequent criminal prosecution. As you know, the Constitution provides protection only in the case of a criminal prosecution.
Okay. Any other questions? We have a motion and support. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
No.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Boswell?
Yes.
Commissioner Jerry?
Yes.
Motion carried. Anything else?
Nothing else?
We're into status reports.
The next item on the agenda under status reports is an update on the Polar Community Renovation Project, and our Parks and Rec Director, DPW Assistant Dan Wires, is going to provide an update to the Commission on the project.
Mr. Wires.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. I did bring a bit of advice here that was shared with me by one of the commissioners, and this is something certainly that we can show the public. We have a lot of these, and I'll show you some of the things that we were working on to give you a bit of an update since the last time that I came up here.
Great, thank you.
And I've got a bit of a presentation here. Okay, here we go. It's obviously the Polar campaign. We do have we're still out there campaigning. I do have some brochures. We will be having some of those after the meeting, and certainly we have some in the city lobby. You're in helping our community. There's still time to donate. And again, our phone number at the Public Works office is 632-5768. Debbie Walsh will take your call, help you out. Any of the folks out there looking to donate. And again, it's McGahee Construction, who's a general contractor on this project. Some of the photos I'm going to give you we may have a couple of the older photos, and I won't try to bore you here. Try to give you some interesting photos. Our lobby area and our new ADA entrance. Again, here's an old photo. It's kind of because this is gone. You're not going to see this no more. This is an older photo, and another older photo. And then here's the old three rows of seats that we had. And now you can see that it is now open. It's right out of the lobby. And now you can see that there's glass, and that's probably one of the better pictures. There's a storefront there now with glass. And you're in the lobby, and to get in, you have to go through the handicapped accessible door, and it's sealed off to the area, and that's what we have. And that's actually from about the center of the rink, zoomed in right through into the lobby, right into the outside. You can see the door across the street. It's a green door, I believe.
media deck, a little bit of a sketchy photo, but this is right up above the ADA area and right underneath the current press box. And this is an area where there's going to be wireless connections or connections for all kinds of different media, videotaping, everything will be up in this one area, all consolidated in one spot, right at center ice. The old handicap lift area, and this is actually, it's kind of befitting for one of the items that you approved this evening. Kind of going, taking a step back a little bit. There's the old lift. There's the old lift now gone, and some of the boards still there. Now there's the lift's gone, boards are gone. Where this orange is, and what you folks approved, is some steps coming down into the egress, down into that side. Obviously, boards will be going by there, but this is one of those that, you know, we don't have the egress. So you approved the steps tonight, so that certainly is going to help. The new handicap bathroom area, again in the lobby. This is right in the lobby. This is the very first before picture. Starting to see the construction. You may have seen saw a couple of these. And then you can see where there's big chunks of concrete right under the old lift that was there. Some of the old plumbing that was pulled out. Certainly enough room in that area. And now you can see, it didn't blow up the way that I wanted to, but now you can see that whole area now that's still being worked on. But certainly to the far left there you see the handicap restroom. Some of the fixtures are not on the wall yet. It is, I know the mayor mentioned that there's still a lot of work to be done. We're still a work in progress. But that is more or less the area that you saw from where it went to where it is now, still in progress. There's a little bit in the bathroom. You can see the tile. Some of the fixtures are not in yet, but they will be coming. The hockey boards, again, go back to what we had there, some of the original boards. And these are some of the areas that we started to peel back. That when you started to peel back, again, I mentioned an old 6x6 creosoted board that was rotting. That we started to peel back, we started to find these things. We didn't even know we had some of those things that needed to be removed. Here's the red line at center ice. Now here's the red line at center ice with the new boards. And they are being put on. The gap down at the bottom will have the yellow kick plate on it. They were just starting to put those in on Friday.
Before you leave, just to quell a rumor, you did some checking. We had some folks insist that the boards were higher than the old boards and were way too high, and the kids couldn't jump over them somehow, and or at least the people playing hockey couldn't. What did you find out?
Well, what I understand is there is in talking to UP engineers and architects, and you do a little search, there are areas, there's a range from 40 inches to 48 inches for hockey boards. Every community is a little bit different. Some of them are a little bit less. I think the Big Bear is right around 43, 43 and a half. The university is at about 44 in and around that area. And what I had was I had one of our employees go down and measure our old boards. And our old boards, from what I've been told, are right around 48 inches on the higher end. With the half inch of the cap rail, it's 48 and a half inches. But when you add an inch of ice, inch to 2 inches of ice, you're going to bring that down, or literally bring it up, so to speak, because the ice will bring that up. So we're well within the range.
Okay.
And part of it too, from what I understand and from what I know, because of you look at this photo, you see the boards that come down, and where you see these yellow steps come down, that's a walking platform up there. There's nobody standing behind there like they're standing behind the boards. They're up on a platform, so if those were even lower, you may be looking into the crawl space behind the bleachers of some sort. So I'm fairly certain, from what I know, is that we pretty much matched up to what we've had before, pretty darn close to what we had. They might be a little bit larger, but these are also the seamless glass, so that the glass is going to go into the slots that go down into it, and it's seamless. There will not be any supports other than up on top. So that was one of the benefits by going to that system.
There'll be no bad seats in the house.
There should not be any bad seats in the house, not like there was before.
No, but there, if you were close to the ice, all you saw was metal when you look left and right. And
Well,
on
you saw the
horizon,
metal,
but-
and certainly I know
but this
that
is-
question could come up as well, and the boards were with that puller for quite a few years.
Yes.
And we were battling in a junior A game. We had lots of complaints that came to us. We had, I
Boy,
think,
we had
in
10
one game,
10
six or 10 times the
10
glass
times
popped
the ice
out.
came out.
And
I
our,
mean,
and
the
our
glass
guys
came out.
are hopping right to it. They're putting them back in, but the aluminum supports were getting fatigued, and we're trying to tighten them all down, and we couldn't. You start to put big bodies on a rink like that, it started to show, the rink started to show its age. So this is going to be something that should last well beyond many people's years. It's going to be a very solid installation. It's not wooden, it's metal. Those types of products on there. Some plastic, the high resin plastic on the cap rail, but it's all metal. It's all heavy duty, and it's all being bolted right into the concrete. No creosoted boards here to hold it in place. Kind of a little bit looking back again at some of our older boards that were in place. Now you start to see some of the boards that are starting to sit in place. They're not, that was on Friday, actually on Sunday is when the photo was taken, and some of those are being put up and put into place as we speak. This is the netting on the end of the building. They did put the netting up, and the netting will go on the curvature of the ends, and they have that up already. And as you can see in the ceiling, we have and I'll get to the ceiling portion of it. You'll be able to see where it's really brightened the whole facility up. You can see where there's lots of things in this photo. You see the panels, the sound panels that are all painted. They're not dull and dingy. The walls are painted. The new boards are in the background. The new netting is up, as well as the ceiling is painted, and the vinyl is up on the ceiling as well. Going into the arena ceiling, just to kind of show you a little bit of the before pictures. I didn't put too many of them up there, but you can see where they had air blasted out and the raw metals hanging out there. That's raw metal. And now you start to see some of the scaffolding up. They painted the ceiling structure, the steel, and you can see where some of the old boards are. You can see where the vinyl was being put on. And when you look at the structure of the ceiling, when we had an engineer firm take a look at that, I mean, we have to go back and think, excuse me, we had literally a board fall from the ceiling down on the ice. A rotted board fell from the ceiling right down onto the ice. So this is one of these things that is taking care of something that's probably been needed to take care of for quite some time. You can see where they're strapping this, and they're putting they covered up the speaker systems for the painting, and also the strapping, so they're putting the vinyl to that. Some progress up over the press box. The press box is even painted a different color. You can see where back there, it's an older photo of the media deck with just the wooden, that was just a safety railing to keep anyone from falling off. This is one of those from start to finish. There's still more to be done, but this is one of those you can see in the top right corner to the north side of the building. This is the women's northeast restroom. This is what it looked like before. Two photos. Now, I did show you these before. Now that's what it looked like behind it. Okay, still going further. Now they're stripping it down. Now they put the Durock and some paint. You can still see the windows. And now you can see the windows, and then you have the new tile in there. You can see there's still electrical to do. There's still the fixtures to be put in. But that's kind of like a little bit of a transformation with that. piping project, this is one of those operational things that once we took the boards out, really exposed the pipes, and you can certainly see that, we are starting to get into the concrete floor, and it's probably been about 6 to 8 years where we just started to do this, because some of the pipes were getting pretty bad, hence one of these that I have here, and there's a whole pile of them, and some of them fare better than others. And sometimes when you get one of these leakers, so to speak, or even a pinhole leak outside of the concrete, and it's dripping onto the other one, it starts to rot the other one. And that stuff's just that's the brine system that we have. You can see here where we have one of the connections that's about to be made into our header pipe. And you can see where you have some bad pipes. Some of these black ones with the gray knuckles, those are the ones that are just replaced. This one that was painted white here off to the right, that was an older one that had been fixed and we had painted. That one's still surviving and doing well. Kind of getting into some of the crumbling concrete, but it's what's needed. And you see that, and then you see this thing here, and I want to compliment Ryan Hill and Tommy Brown, as well as Greg Molitor and Matt Casey and Kurt Michalowski. Our staff did a lot of this. Ryan Hill did a lot of this concrete work, patched it right up and put it right back to like it was brand new. This here is the main pipes, and you'll see some better piping pictures, but this is where some of these back wooden structures were all rotted. Not all of them were, but this is the bench area. This is basically your home team. That's their bench area, right over top of the pipes. This is before we got at them. This is Greg Molitor, and then with the piping open, you can see Mr. Tommy Brown there on the left, and you can see with the new electric that you approved, we can actually see in there, but that's all open. You see the steps in front of them. This will all be closed up kind of forevermore in a way here fairly soon, where Greg is right where the boards would be. Opened this whole thing right up, and for the first time, and quite that I'm aware of, all these pipes not only fixed, and you'll be able to see some better photos. They're painting right now. It's just with a glove, slapping it on, and the macro epoxy paint. We did full 2 coats. Now you can start to see what we did with this, and 2 full coats on this over 3 days.
And then you see the wood behind it. That's all new. That's all.
The wood behind it, and you can see the GFI plugs that were there, and that was another add-on, because once we got into this, some of the wood was just not up to speed. Where the wood's been repaired, you see the new electric line, the new electric lighting, and obviously the GFI plugs are right there. So that when the benches are back on, and when the boards are back up, and the only way to get access to it is through the pipe chase, our guys have the best that we can give them as they get down in there to fix or repair, or a contractor or anything along those lines. Another angle. That's one of my more favorite photos, because I got right over top of the pipes, and you go all the way down. It's the whole length of that pipe chase. And off to the right, you can see where the boards will go on the right side of that, and on the left side of it will be all boards are going to be benches are going to cover all of that. It's not going to be able to be accessed like that. So I was very adamant that we get 2 full coats of this material on it after the pipes were fixed and pressure tested. Now this is something that the mayor talked about, and this is my last slide, is come see the puller. The mayor talked about the initial walkthrough and donation day for this renovation project, and that's going to be this Saturday, August 9th, and that's from 3 to 7 o'clock at the puller. We do hope that folks can come out and attend so that they can see the progress being made. There's still more to be done. We're on track, but it's going fast, and we're working diligently to make this completed and to do it right and get it on time, get ready for the puck to drop. But we've got a lot of work in front of us still. So this is a little bit of an update.
Don't go too far, but I know Commissioner Lynn wanted to make some comments.
I want to put this in perspective, how old the building is and what we're finding for electrical, all the wiring, the plumbing. Adolf Hitler attacked September 1st, 1939, Poland, and started World War II when the puller opened. That's how long the puller's been there. 75 years. And if this project would not have been done, Dan, you want to tell them what were we looking at?
Well, I speak of the rotted creosote board. We have as I know a lot of the commissioners have gone to a lot of the Sioux Eagles games, and when you're trying to put a product out to the community and to the people that are renting the facility, and you've got glass popping out, what do you say to the folks? When you have a lady in a wheelchair who's stuck in the elevator or the lift that's there.
More than once.
And I know the mayor was there quite a few times when that happened. It makes it really difficult to try to give the folks the answers. When you start looking at a board or boards that are falling from the ceiling because they're rotting right off, it just is what it is. And certainly we've tried, I believe, attacked all the things that needed to be looked at. In 3 to 5 years, I don't know what we would have left, because literally the aluminum supports on the glass were literally breaking. I know Kurt Mikulowski and those folks down there, we're rebuilding them as fast as we can. They're all custom made, so we were making by these new boards, just getting into that pipe chase. And you just look at that and see where we have gone. I believe it's one of those things that it was a big shot in the arm to that facility, for the citizens of the community. And I think it's when you start looking at some of the photos, and that's the best way I could put it out to you folks and to the community. Take a look at some of the photos, because we're getting in areas where I could never tell you what it was unless you saw it for yourself.
Dan, aren't we lucky we never had a fire with electrical, that 75-year-old electrical?
We are very lucky, and we have found places where literally the electrician said the casing and the protective casing just crumbled right off. I know that we did that when we upgraded one of the other areas about 4 or 5 years ago. I went and looked at it myself, and it literally just crumbled. And I'm going, how could we have? We were very lucky. And they were finding some of those things. And when you start to look at it, even our fire control box for the fire alarm was outdated. Even our ammonia that we thought was safe for our own employees down in this basement, we thought that we were okay with that. It's way outdated and wasn't working. And it took this project to help us to find that. And that's something that we don't want to get in that situation again. But we're finding out that a lot of the things that you folks are approving are certainly going to help going forward in many ways. But the electrical, I believe we've tackled a lot of that electrical, cleaned a lot of that up. There's more to do, but we took on everything that we needed to do, and so far we're making a lot of headway.
Commissioner Twardy?
Just a quick question, because you answered my question about the boards, and 46 doesn't seem too high, but I'm kind of still thinking about the position of the blue line. Did you guys measure it, or? Seems like the neutral zone's kind of small to me.
That was brought to my attention today, and I'm
Okay.
unaware of that, other than when it was brought to my attention today. So we'll be talking with UP engineers. I don't know how, to see where that may go or how that may be adjusted.
Okay.
That was just brought up to us today.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you. And again, on the 9th, which is Saturday from 3 to 7, we again encourage the community to come and see what your puller looks like. And again, it won't be totally completed, but the ice is going on Monday?
Well, it's going to be next week.
Oh, yeah, it takes a while. So
well, we have some other things that are being finished up in the basement, so
Okay.
we will be working on getting that plant going and getting the frost being made. I know we've come into some very good warm weather, but we're going to be pushing some frost next week.
Okay. And then the rest of the building will still continue to be built until it'll hopefully hit the timetables that we have.
Yeah, the intention is to have all of the boards completed, everything over the ceiling completed, so that we can now do our work on the ice sheet. Everything else will continue. Some of the rubber in the lobby, certainly in the dressing rooms, and also the addition, not the addition, but the new roof out back. That's something that will be done this fall. They're going to be working on that as we start to, the project's going to still continue, but at least we'll be able to start our work here pretty quick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the last item on the agenda is the August 5th primary election. As Mayor Bosbus indicated earlier, tomorrow is Election Day. The polls open at 7, they close at 8. It is a primary. The voters do not have to declare a party preference. However, they cannot cross party lines. So the ballot is legal size, front and back. There's one proposal on the back. Voters will be asked to vote for governor, U.S. Senator, representative in Congress, 1st District, state senator, 37th District, representative in the state legislature, 107th District, county commission is on the ballot, delegate to the county convention, and there's also 4 proposals. Proposal 14.1 is a state proposal that we spoke about earlier relating to the personal property tax reform. The second proposal is a county fixed millage proposition and a recycling program proposition millage renewal request for the county. And then there's a local school district operating millage renewal. And I think it's worth noting that this is probably the first time in our history that the governor and the U.S. senator are running unopposed in the primary election. I don't think that that's happened before. So if you want to view your ballot before you go to the polls, you can go to www.michigan.gov/vote. You can check out where your precinct is if you're registered to vote, view the ballot, and prepare yourself when you go to the polls. Otherwise, any questions can be directed to the city clerk's office. And that concludes my report.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and I'd certainly like to thank Jen, our deputy city clerk, for her first meeting as the deputy clerk and helping out with the agenda. So, excellent job, and welcome to your first meeting.
Thank you.
Okay.
She said she wasn't nervous.
Yeah, she did a very nice job. That concludes the city manager's report. Item number 8 are matters presented by the public. Is there anyone in the audience like to make a comment at this time? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to item number 9, matters presented by the commission. Commissioner Twardy.
I just wanted to mention how great sidewalk sales were on Friday and Saturday, and it was really fun to see so many people downtown and so much entertainment, and anywhere from like the bikers to the karate to the dancing kids, and you know, of course I got to tout my son's band, but there was so much going on. You weren't bored at all with the petting zoo, and so thank you everybody for coming down and participating in extreme sidewalk sales.
Anyone else? Commissioner Lynn.
Your Honor, I would so move we adjourn this meeting.
Support.
It's been moved forward. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.
Oh my gosh.